I think we'll go right into conduct of business. Item A, appoint commissioner to fill the vacant planning commission position. And I would like to say that this is a little different this time going around with planning commission. We appointed a subcommittee to work with the community development department and tried to really fine-tune what they felt was needed going forward. As Mary said earlier, we have some very complicated and very important issues regarding development in this city. So I'd like to handle this a little different way, but I think Mr. Salazar would like to say a few words first. Michael?
Thank you. Yeah, so as the mayor mentioned, we did have a subcommittee that looked into this, and we spent quite a bit of time. Councilmember O'Connell and I, along with Commissioners Smoot and Biasotti, met on a couple different occasions and came up with a process that we felt was going to get us the best possible candidates for this commission. And I believe we were successful in doing that. We got a really good batch of candidates that we interviewed, and also want to thank staff for their contribution in putting together the package and the application form that we came up with. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that the work that went into this, and we really did put a lot of thought and time into this selection, and we got 4 really, really good candidates. I really appreciate the time and effort that those people put in. We're only going to be selecting one today, but it's going to be a hard choice.
Right. Irene, anything?
I echo what Michael just said. It was a very rigorous process that we went through along with the planning commissioners. We tried to be very thoughtful in what we asked people. We didn't want just off-the-cuff kind of, I want to help my community answers that we often get when we interview people. So I think we were very successful, and regardless of how this comes out, because there's only one place and there's 4 people who applied, I hope the 3, whoever's left, I hope they don't kind of give up. I hope they keep involved with the city and keep applying in case there is another spot. And before we go on from there, City Manager, I had a question earlier about a wait list kind of thing for the planning commissions. Because routinely when we appoint someone and then 3 or 4 months later there is a new another person resigns and there is another opening, we routinely re-advertise. But I don't know if we have to do that or if we can just use the same list that we have.
So that's a matter of council policy determination, how you want to select a commissioner, but there is nothing that would prohibit the city from identifying its intent to, for some period of time, to use the remaining 3 candidates as your candidate pool. I would certainly encourage you to, just as we do with employment eligibility lists in our city service, that there be a defined time period over which that list would continue to live, so that it doesn't hamstring you going forward into the longer term future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good. Ken, you had something?
I'd just like to say that unlike other committees and commissions that we appoint, I believe it's been at least 10 years since there's been a vacancy on the Planning Commission. And so it doesn't happen that often. I believe it is the most important commission with the city. And so I think the process that we're going through is better than we've done in the past. And I'd like to say that of those four candidates that came forward, they are all very well informed. This is not about seeing what house looks nice or what's a good design or something. This is about knowing what is the background of the future of this community, transit corridor plan, development throughout all the different neighborhoods, and taking a stand on it and being knowledgeable about it. And each one of the candidates were actually very good at explaining their part in how they wanted to help improve the community. So as far as a waiting list, as far as I think it's always going to be a difficult task. And so I would say keep in touch with the other three candidates that unfortunately don't get appointed and see if that they'd like to stay on, on the list for the future.
We do this a little differently this time, just so that all of these candidates get recognized in some way, instead of just voting for maybe the first one and pick him or her. So those four candidates were Linda Martin, Malcolm Robinson, Marie Kayal, and Valentine Morgan. And they were all very, very qualified, vetted candidates that applied a very lengthy application process to the city, and were interviewed fairly extensively by the city council a little over a week ago. So what I'd like to do is ask, first of all, would anyone like to nominate Linda Martin?
I'll nominate.
And do we have a second for Linda Martin? I'll second. Okay, we have a nomination and a second for Linda Martin. Would anyone like to nominate Malcolm Robinson? Would anyone like to nominate Marie Kayal?
I'll nominate Marie.
Okay,
I'll second.
and a second. Anyone like to nominate Valentine Morgan?
I would.
Do we have a second for Valentine?
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, so Malcolm will not go in this round. Let's try this then, we'll get right to it. We have a nomination and a second for Linda Martin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have a nomination and a second for Marie Kayal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think Marie Kayal is our new planning commissioner.
Okay.
Okay. Congratulations to Marie, and we'll get her on board. She's not here this evening. She might be watching us between the Mets game. I don't know. So we'll see. Congratulations to Marie, and then we'll have another commissioner to appoint, because Marie is also on one of our other boards and commissions. So that'll work out very well.